Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to Mixed Text and Politics. So, I have some good news here for Texas. New poll shows Republicans leading among newly registered voters in Texas. This is fantastic news. So, let's check this out from the Texas scorecard here. All right, so as Texas experiences an influx of newly registered voters, a new poll shows Republicans leading by nearly 20% among new registrants. Since November of 2020, more than 1.1 million people have registered to vote in Texas. A poll performed by CWS Research and commissioned by the Defend Texas Liberty PAC shows 59% of those newly registered intend to vote Republican in the fall, with 41% leaning Democrat. This is what I've been saying, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but here we go. When asked about current issues, the results appear to be even brighter for Texas Republicans. 62% of new registered voters believe puberty blockers should be banned for minors in Texas. 65% believe we should ban taxpayer subsidies for illegals, and 71% believe that employers should not have the right to fire an employee based on their vaccine status. It's clear that new registered voters are ready to help keep Texas red and support a bold conservative cultural agenda in 2023, said Jonathan Strickland, the founder of Defend Texas Liberty PAC. The Texas Republicans should force Democrats to justify their radical positions on sexualizing our children and forcing Texans to get vaccinated or get fired. Now let's check out what the poll says. Let's look at the details, dive into it. This is very encouraging right here, and you can see in some of my previous videos where I've talked about stuff like this. But this is a new poll as of last month, and this is very encouraging. All right, so a new registrant is defined by this poll to be someone who registered to vote after the deadline to participate in the November 2020 election. It has no previous voting history in Texas. So these people did not vote in 2020 here in Texas, and they're voting in the future, and they registered to vote since then. So this poll was conducted of 952 randomly selected people. So let's get to the results here. Okay, so people who lived in Texas 2 years or less, 39% of those people represented the poll. 2 to 5 years, 12%. 5 to 10 years, 4%. 10 years or more, 45%. All right, so let's go down a little bit. Do you consider yourself a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or other affiliation? 44% Republican, 24% Democrat, 32% Independent. So if you're a Republican and the following candidates, of the following politicians, who do you most align with? Donald Trump, Greg Abbott, or Mitt Romney? 63% align with Donald Trump. This is huge because most Republicans can sort of align with the America First agenda. Greg Abbott, he's semi-conservative. He has some rhino tendencies, but he's also done some great things. He's very good on the economy and keeping, businesses thriving here in Texas and things like that. He's okay on the border, could be better, but he's doing some stuff on the border. Mitt Romney is a rhino, so that doesn't surprise me at all. But now, if you're a Democrat, of the following politicians, AOC, Joe Biden, or Joe Manchin, who do you most align with? This is what's scary. 68% most align with AOC. We all know she's a far left radical loon. She is what's that? The squad. She's a part of the squad. So we know the far left commies. Joe Biden, he comes off as like he's a moderate, but he's really not. Joe Manchin is the most moderate of all those people. If I had to choose, if I were a Democrat, I would most align with Joe Manchin because he seems to have the most sense, even though he's a fraud much of the time. But that's scary is that 68% of the people that are Democrats align with AOC. So that worries me. But other than that, there are a lot of encouraging things in this poll. So if the 2022 general election were held today, Would you more likely vote Republican or Democrat? 59% vote Republican, 41% Democrat. So independents is split down the middle 50-50, but in this poll, but 6 out of 10 are gonna vote Republican. They plan to. And that's what I've said before. It's about a 60-40 split when it comes to people that are newly registered voters in Texas. And also among people that are coming in Texas, I believe it's a 60-40 split, which is good, which is why we haven't seen Texas flip completely blue or flip blue at all. And the whole narrative that Californians are turning Texas blue is just false. Data doesn't show that at all. So, the issues. Do you believe it should be legal for Texas parents to sexually transition their children through permanent puberty blockers and transition surgery? 62% say no, as I talked about before. Death penalty, 62% of the voters said yes. Do you believe Texas should give taxpayer subsidies to illegal aliens? No, 65%. So 92% of Republicans say no. 61% independents, 22% Democrats also agree that we should not give subsidies to illegal aliens for taxpayers' money. So when it comes to the answer, yes, 49%, nearly half of Democrats think that they should that we should be giving taxpayer subsidies to illegals. So that's actually lower than I thought it would be. So that's a little encouraging. Let's see. We'll talk about property taxes. Okay. Do you believe employers should have the right to terminate an employee based on their vaccine status? 71% said no. That includes 94% of Republicans, 68% of independents, and 35% Democrats. More than half of Democrats agree that employers should have the right to terminate based on vaccine status. So this is talking about Trump and Biden. Skip that. I'll post this in the box below so you can check out these results for yourself. So top issue and issue alignment. Which of the following issues do you consider to be your top concern going to the November 2022 election? 18% say border security. That includes 30% of Republicans, 16% of independents, only 1% of Democrats. Democrats don't care about border security. I'm not saying they don't, but that's not a top issue for them, and I think it should be. I think border security is the number one issue. As we see among Republicans, that gets the biggest share of support, 30%. So nearly a third of Republicans feel like border security is the top issue. Election integrity, that's 19% overall. Republicans 23%, independents 19%, Democrats 10%. Gun rights comes in, 16%, 15% Republicans, 17% independents, and 14% Democrats. So the gun issue is not even a top, it's not at the top of the list for issues when it comes to November 2022. So that's not going to be a huge driving factor at the polls this November. Sorry. Property taxes is low on the list. The property taxes, it's important, but it's not a crucial issue like border security. So it's not at the top. So yeah, abortion. This is like what got the most support here. 27% say abortion is the top concern. This is bothersome right here. So 11% Republicans feel that way, and this is 24% of independents. 60% Democrats feel that abortion is a top issue in Texas going to the November election. So that's going to drive Democrats to the polls. But then we have things like border security on our side that's going to drive us to the polls. And let's see, education, 14%. So it's pretty evenly split across the board here on that. So the thing is that I know a lot of people are concerned about abortion with the Roe v. Wade, and they think it's going to increase Democrat voter turnout, which some cases yes, but it doesn't tell the whole story here. So, and look, 59, nonetheless, 59% still say they're going to lean Republican. That's just mainly a Democrat issue. So, of those people that are going to vote Democrat, that is their concern. But still, overall, 59% are leaning towards Republicans. So, there you go. So, based on this question 16 response on the issue of border security, election integrity, and gun rights, property taxes, abortion, and education, who do you align with more, Democrats or Republicans, or neither? Border security, 90% align with Republicans. 69% election integrity, gun rights, 51% Republicans, property taxes, 56% lean with Republicans, abortion, 16% Republicans, education, 39% with Republicans. And I think that has a lot to do with the CRT nonsense we're seeing in our schools. And both sides of the aisles don't want their kids, they don't want CRT pushed on their kids, so the whole drag show nonsense doesn't play well with middle of the road Democrats and Republicans, independents as well. So, yeah. Only 2% side with Democrats on border security. Election integrity, 14%. Gun rights, 29%. So, even after Uvalde, in the backlash that Greg Abbott received from that, 51% still side with Republicans. So, only 29% with Democrats on that issue. Property taxes, 9%, for Democrats. Abortion, 69% side with Democrats on abortion. I mean, that makes sense. If you want to have abortion rights, I mean, it does make more sense to lean with the Democrats on that if that's your top issue. Education. All right, so education, Republicans win on that issue, 39 to 29. So that's encouraging. Yeah, so this is good news for Republicans. Like I said, you can check out one of my videos. Talk about California's not turning Texas blue. I know there's a lot of people coming to Texas, and I've seen it. I myself am originally from California, but I've lived in Texas for over 2 decades now. So I'm a Texan. I'm a Texas guy, So, but as far as I've been registered to vote since 2008. But newly registered voters since 2020, 60%, but 59% to be exact, intend to vote Republican in 2022. So I do believe we're going to keep Texas red. I'm very confident in that, actually. I think Greg Abbott's going to win by a margin of 8 to 10%. We must keep Tarrant County red, and I will make another video about that. But Democrats are coming hard from the outside. Outside sources are coming for Texas. They always have been. But it's up to us to stay vigilant, register to vote, get out there and vote, encourage others to vote. And let's keep Texas the place that we like to be. It's not very pretty, but you come here for the opportunity. And you came here from these other places, a lot of cases, like I said, to get away from where you're going through up there. You come down here to have, more land, a little more economic opportunity, business-friendly environment, friendly people, and the Texas culture, and let's keep it that way. So thank you for all those new voters coming here and registering and planning to vote Republican and to keep this place a great place to live. All right, I'm going to end the video right there. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Take care.